Welcome to Film and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.
Always having the mindset of whatever I'm gonna do my best.
We are joining an award-winning. This is not a typical story. This is not a topic that's always addressed. Welcome to Music and Medicine. We've got a special edition for you. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm really excited doing a Film and Medicine segment on Mr. Vincent Ward, who's joining us today. This man's incredible, and you've seen him everywhere, actor extraordinaire. Let's start with the movies. You saw him in Ocean's 11, as well as Traffic, and certainly one of our favorites with Steve Martin and Queen Latifah, Bringing Down the House. Now, let's move over to TV. We're talking about Walking Dead. You've seen him on Everybody Hates Chris, Hot in Cleveland. I mean, the list just goes on and on. He's done so many roles, and now, more importantly, New Jack City. So welcome, my friend.
I was wondering, I'm like, you talking about me? You kind of forget, the stuff that you've been in, but thank you for having me.
Sure. And that's just covering a few of the highlights. I kind of want to roll the clock back to Dayton, Ohio, where you grew up, and sort of that initial introduction into theater and just sort of how you really got started and got bit by the bug.
Man, I didn't have any choice. I always say I didn't pick acting picked me.
Okay.
If you know anything about the Midwest, General Motors is a job to have. So I was working at GM, got fired because I got hurt on the job.
Right.
Told me I couldn't come back. I started working at good old Champs Sports. Became the #1 salesman in the district at Champs in Dayton, Ohio. They
Right.
said they wanted to train me as assistant manager. Moved to Columbus, ended up becoming the #1 salesman in the district there.
Right, wow.
And one day the general manager came and said, "You're doing such a great job in this company. How far you want to take it in this company?"
Right.
I said, "I would like to have a position like yours one day."
Exactly.
2 weeks later, I was fired.
Oh, wow. I'll take your job.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even thinking about that. I hadn't been even assistant manager yet. And 3 weeks after that, I went and saw my very first play, and I sat there in that little theater, Living the Dream Theater, 20 seats, and I said, I can do that. And I remember after the play, I went to the actors and actresses, and I was like, I was so excited.
Right.
And he was like, you know what, maybe you should come and audition. I was like, really? What's an audition?
Right.
I didn't even know what audition was.
Right.
So I auditioned, and I ended up getting a part because the company was like a traveling educational place. And went and got a part and started doing, stage plays from there.
Sure. What was your big break? What was that moment where you're like, wow, this is a great opportunity for me, and just I'm not doing anything amateurish at this juncture?
My big break, I don't want to call it a big break, but when I was like, I'm moving, is when I did the movie Traffic with Michael Douglas. We shot it in Columbus and Cincinnati, Ohio. And when I told my parents that I was moving to LA, they was like, you don't even know nobody out there. I said, it doesn't matter, I'm going.
Right.
And the thing about it is, when it was time for me to come to LA, General Motors had cut me a check for $10,000 telling me not to come back.
Wow.
So sometimes what we might think is a negative might be a positive to push you into what you really and truly supposed to be doing.
Right.
Because
Wow.
3 years after that, everybody at GM lost their job anyways.
Wow.
And Champs actually tried to give me my job back, and I told him no.
Right, not gonna do it. You've had the chance to work with some of the just legends. Let's talk about your experiences with people like George Clooney and being on the set of a movie like Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt. I mean, these are just incredible.
The thing that blows my mind is like you have these A-listers, so down to earth, so humble. But then you got people that's trying to make it be buttholes. I know somebody called them local legends.
Right.
It's like if George Clooney and Matt Damon and Queen Latifah not acting like that, then what makes you think you're supposed to act like that?
Yeah.
If you can't handle the small stuff, how you think God gonna bless you with the big stuff? Because you're gonna be a horrible person once that big stuff comes. But I just looked at them like, it wasn't ever a fanboy type thing. I just looked at them like, hey, you just like me.
Right.
And that's really how it is. And, being in this theater more and more, being in this industry more and more, one thing that I don't like is when people cater to me. I know everybody has a job, but sometimes when you cater to people and put them on that pedestal, or high pedestal, sometimes if they're not mentally strong, they can become that person that you don't like.
Right.
So, you know, just treat everybody with respect and, you know, be professional and do your job, but you never had to bow down and kiss anybody's butt, especially not mine.
Sure.
I'm just Vincent from Dayton.
Right,
That's
sure.
it. That's trying to get somewhere in this industry to be able to come back and do, you know, not only for my parents, but my 14 grandkids and leave a legacy and just be like, you know, he was one of the good guys.
Right, right. No, that it comes across. Two of those people who are very humble, one of them not with us now, but Steve Martin and Betty White. Talk to us about that experience of
I almost fanboyed over Betty White now,
right?
Because I mean, it was, you know,
she took your arm.
Yeah, and it wasn't planned. You know, when we were leaving off, you know, it was a small scene, but to be with Betty White and for her to, you know, for us to be going back and forth saying lines that wasn't even on the paper, just having a good time, and then afterwards, you know, her asking to take a picture with me, I'm like, what? What the heck? You know, it was an unbelievable moment. And as far as with Steve Martin is very quiet. You know, he's the type of person when cameras is rolling, he's on.
Right.
But when he's sitting over there, he's sitting by himself,
right,
not talking. He's just like, you know, kind of shy. But I noticed that with a lot of comedian actors, they kind of, you know, standoffish until it's time to roll. Even with Chris Rock, even though Chris Rock wasn't really on the set, but I mean, for 4 or 5 years, I probably saw Chris Rock 2 times. He would do the voiceovers from his house.
Right.
But a lot of times, you know, he just sat to himself until it was time to make somebody laugh. So.
Another key thing that comes across about you is your modesty and that grind. So here you are being very humble and you get an opportunity to be in The Walking Dead. Hadn't done the genre, didn't really even know the show. And talk to us about sort of how you got yourself ready for essentially a tremendous fan base. It's a big show.
Well, you know what, for my character, Oscar really wasn't too far from who I am in real life.
Right.
The difference is he was in jail. And I was not.
Minor detail.
But he believed in, my character went to jail because he was trying to support his family.
Sure.
You know, he went to jail for breaking and entering.
Right.
You know, any man is gonna try to do anything to support his family, I agree with, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But you're still hurting somebody if you're stealing from them.
Right.
Because that's, to me, that's one of the worst things you can't do to somebody is steal and lie and defame their names or whatnot. But Oscar, it wasn't a hard part. It wasn't a hard part. And you're right, I didn't know anything about the show. For me, I don't base one show higher than the other one. It can be The Walking Dead, but it can be an independent film.
Right.
It can be Bringing Down the House, but it can be a student film. And I'm still gonna be there on time, having my lines together and being professional. You know, sometimes when you look down like on an independent film or, you know, a PA or whatever, you never know where those people might grow to be.
Sure.
You know, that person, you know, that's going and getting people water, daddy might own the, you know, the studio, but they're making them start from the bottom. So I always feel like, you know, giving everybody the same, again, professionalism and respect, not because I want something from them, but because that's, to me, that's how you're supposed to be.
God damn! I'm gonna run out of bats if he keeps this shit up. Now get him out of here!
Hey, I'm from Bed-Stuy. Let me guess. Did your dad get that jersey from Risky?
You know Risky?
Yeah, he sold me a Duro Raspberry jersey.
Hit a stranger anywhere?
Come on, Shorty, let's check in the VIP section.
Oh, will Jay-Z be there?
10 miles of the house at all times, sir.
Damn, this place is worse than the joint, know what I'm saying, Holmes?
Hey, man, let me holler at you for a minute. You gotta come up out of those shoes, homie.
Zapatos?
Yeah. You see, that's how I run things up in here. Okay. Yeah, until a baby alien pops out the back of your neck and tries to eat us.
Marcus, anyone ever tell you that you stick your nose into a lot of places that don't belong?
Many a times. But this doesn't change the fact that that thing could be in there doing some body snatching shit on you.
Oh, come on.
I mean, how do we know that Will is even Will?
And why you looking for people then, man? What, you supposed to be a detective? You Spencer for hire, Magnum PI?
No, I just need James to come with me to school tomorrow. It's for this brother from another mother program. Wait, didn't you used to be Wayne Gretzky's bodyguard?
James pays better. Beautiful. my life. And they ain't about to start now. So you do what you gotta do.
I think a good story illustrates that. We were talking a little bit about Terry Crews and how you were still willing to be very modest and humble, but yet you got to have a great interaction with him.
Yeah, Terry, that time working with Terry on Everybody Hates Chris, Terry, we were very close, you know. He's like, you know, almost a brother. He would come to my place, like I was telling you, came to my place, and when he told me that, I think it was on our 4th season, we didn't know he was coming back for the 5th season. He told me, if we come back next season, I don't want you to come back. You know, you're too talented to be somebody's stand-in.
Right.
And I, you know, I understood what he was saying, but in the same breath, I was the only stand-in that had a stand-in.
Right.
So I was still doing my thing.
Right.
So I would tell the other stand-ins, because we had to run the lines and act like we was Terry, act like we was Tashina,
Right.
which was great because a lot of shows don't do that. So I used to gather all the stand-ins around. It's like, look, we're gonna do these lines and we're gonna do them right.
We're gonna deliver.
And a lot of times, like some of the directors would go to other shows and they would remember us and bring us to that show, not as a stand-in, but as an actor.
Right.
Because if you don't allow people to know you're an actor or an actress, then they're just gonna look at you as a stand-in or they're
Right.
gonna look at you as an extra.
Sure.
So that's why a lot of the stand-ins, we got different parts. I play like 8 different parts on Everybody Hates Chris. So, you know, you just gotta take advantage of the situation you're in and not just look there and be like, okay, is it time for the stand-ins to come in? No.
Right.
No, I walked in there like, here we go, let's make this happen.
Right. And like you said, never knowing who's watching, who might be able to give you that next opportunity.
And I'm still friends with some of the producers that's from Everybody Hates Chris. You know, shout out to Rodney Barnes, everything he's doing with the Lakers series on HBO, his Blackula,
Right.
all the stuff that he has coming out. Ali Leroy, you know, everything he's doing, so, yeah.
Sure. You've never forgotten who you are and where you came from. You're still doing plays now since as you go back home. Talk to us about that willingness, like you said, to sort of go up and down the ladder, whether it's a major feature or something really basic, and still being willing to be out there on the road. It's a harder life to kind of do plays and things like that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think just because you're on TV or you're doing a tour or anything like that, that you just living a life.
Right.
Hey, it's been times,
Sure.
I just cried the other day.
Right. Exactly. Let's be real.
You know, you look at these bills and like, Lord, what's going on?
Right.
You know, so it's just like you have to have faith, you have to have patience, you have to have, you know, you have to manifest, you have to pray.
Right.
This is what I do. You know, whoever you believe in, that's what they believe in. Sure. But for me, my goal is bigger than just being Oscar on The Walking Dead. My goal is hopefully win an Oscar or be nominated for an Oscar.
Right.
My goal is to start creating my own projects, of which I've been doing. I have 2 horror movies coming out this year. One called Devereaux. It's like the new age Candyman, but then Candyman came back.
Right.
But Tony Todd is playing my dad in this. And, you know, just my travel shows, because I always felt like you never see anybody who looks like me on them travel shows.
Right.
I was an older white man. So I started creating travel shows. And my other horror, The Stepdad, it was a remake of the old horror classic, The Stepfather. You know, I'm just trying to put myself in a position to be able to give people jobs, to be able to do what I want to do instead of getting killed off all the time, saving somebody.
Sure. Right.
You know,
right.
you just want to be able to put yourself in a position to, like I said, help other people.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's always ups and downs. You know, we all fall, but what do you do when you get back up? Sure. And again, you know, when I think of home, I get on people a lot about, you know, it feels better when you really support and not just like a post.
Sure.
How do you call me
Right.
when you want somebody to talk to your kids or inspire your kids, but when it's time to buy a ticket to New Jack City,
Right.
I don't hear from you.
Sure.
You know, but you a post
Right.
about Frankie Beverly and Maze
Right.
and drive 75 miles to see somebody that you don't even know,
Right.
but can't spend $25 on somebody that you do know. And that bothers me.
Sure.
Well, let me take that back. It used to bother me.
Right.
Because it's just like, man, don't change our friendship because of how you think I might be living.
Sure.
I'm more humble today than I was years ago, and I've always been kind of popular. You know, most people know me from dancing in the rap group.
Right.
You know, opening up shows for MC Hammer and Special Ed and Public Enemy. Right. And a lot of people know me from basketball, you know, dunking on some people. I might have dunked on Roe over here, but you know.
Sure, we'll keep it a secret. We won't embarrass him like that, especially on camera.
You gotta be humble, man. You gotta be grateful. I always say, man, I'm grateful for the good, the bad, the present, past, and the future. Because some of the bad stuff in the past made me stronger. You know, made me look at myself, made me apologize to myself and apologize to other people. You know, just being humble and just being Vincent Ward from Dayton, Ohio. Matter of fact, it's Vincent M.Ward.
Right, okay.
Because the reason why I said that, because when I first moved out here to LA back in 2000, Vincent Ward called me.
Right, yeah, sure.
And I was like, they say, may I speak to Vincent Ward, please? I said, speaking. This is the original Vincent Ward, and I just called to let you know that you need to put your name, your middle initial, or, you know, change your name. I said, how'd you get my number? It doesn't matter how I got your number, just change your name. So, yeah. So it's Vincent
M. Search. Right.
And I would not allow you to embarrass me or my family from that congregation with this nonsense that you're talking. Now, I don't believe in divorcing. You know that, Jamie.
I do. And I didn't believe in it either until I realized how disgusting it was being married to you.
I will kill you before I allow you to lead this marriage.
I set the fire last night. I thought if I set it and put it out, I'd be a hero. But then the back door locked on me. I know it's stupid, right?
And nobody put you up to it?
You saved my life. Who are you really, Mike?
The fuck? What? But you gonna shoot at me? Over this fool? You disloyal bitch. The only thing you did was piss me off.
3 more seconds and I'll bust another one.
Farron, put the gun down. Yeah, Farron, put the gun down. What the?
I'm not afraid of going to prison for messing you up, Terrence. Get out.
All right. Okay. You know it's not over.
There's this health component to the show. You've given back so much, but humbly. City of Refuge for years, school programs and things like that. So talk to us about that willingness to continue to try to help others in that way and help really inspire young people.
Well, you know what, man? It's crazy because you got more people nowadays like to say that they don't believe in God more than people who do believe in God. It's like, why are you ashamed to say who you believe in or what you believe in? You know, you think because you say, I believe in God, and that this person's not going to give you a job? You know, that's not up to them. It's up to, again, whoever you believe in. You know, but for me, I believe in God. I believe in having faith. You know, when I first moved out here, I visited City of Refuge 23 years ago, and I never left. You know, when I'm back at home, I go to my church that I've been going to forever. You know, it's gone through 3 or 4 different pastors now, but you know that's just what I believe in, man.
Absolutely.
And because if I don't have that faith and that belief, then I'll probably go out here and doing something strange for a little piece of change, which I ain't gonna never do. Or see how I can try to get over on somebody. But as long as I have faith and I manifest and I pray, eventually it'll come.
Sure. Talk to us as we wrap up about the professionalism, staying on the grind, and continuing to be willing to work hard, like I said, no matter what the role may be, no matter what the audition or opportunity may be.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. It goes back to being on time. Doing what you're supposed to do. And hopefully when somebody, the talent is easy. It's what happens when people say cut, or, what happens when it's time to be on time for rehearsal and everybody else is late or drunk or high. I want people to remember me from, what, that dude didn't give me no problems. He came, he did what he was supposed to do. And I don't care if it's a student film. I don't care if it's a podcast that's in the corner. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna give you me, because that's all I know how to do, is be me.
And we see that with your conventions? You're a big convention here. I mean, it's not something you see all the actors do and things like that. Tell us about not only being able to interact with fans, who know the horror fans are very, very intense, but also just that sense of, like I said, trying to show others a face that we don't always see at conventions.
I still can't believe people want my autograph.
Right.
And pay for it too? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Wow.
When I first signed up for the conventions, I didn't even know what a convention was. I said, so we go there, so they fly us in, they give us per diem, they put us up, and we get paid?
Right. And
I said, when does this happen? But you see a lot of older wrestlers, older actors, actresses, and that's how they make a living, because they're not doing any more, you know, movies or series, or they're not wrestling anymore.
Right.
To meet some people that know who you are, that you looked up to in the past, is unbelievable. You know, like Ric Flair. You know, I met Ric Flair, and George Animal still had me put him in a headlock and all types of stuff. Or meet the actors, and you know, you just be like, this is not real. But I see why people go to these conventions, and I think a lot of times these conventions bring parents and their kids together too, because it's something that they save up for. And so when people come up to my table, you know, like, could you sign this or that? Every time, I don't care how many times I go to these conventions, I still cannot believe it that, you know, people look up to you. And I don't like for people like, you know, I'm a fan of yours. Like, no, you know, you're a fan of that show.
Character,
You're a fan of that show. But once again, it's that pedestal thing. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm right here and then you got to treat me some kind of way. We're here. You know, we're here on the same level. I'm just happy to do something that you enjoy seeing me do.
Sure. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Ro Brooks, who brought us together. I think probably through Sons of Anarchy, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay.
We just talked about it. Ro, we worked on a movie called A Beautiful Soul.
Oh, okay.
A Beautiful Soul with Dietrich Haddon, and we were bad guys in there, and Ro messed it up for us. And we just realized we hadn't seen each other since then.
Right, wow.
But you know, when we have, just because we don't talk or see each other, you still have that respect for each other, you know what I mean? We haven't seen each other since we've been on that set, but when he called and was like, you know, asked me to do something, I'm there because I respect his grind, his hustle, what he's trying to do, you know, as far as the managing agency and all that other stuff. So when you believe in somebody and you really and truly see their vision, and they just good people, you there for them no matter how long you hadn't seen each other.
Sure, absolutely. And you showed up for us today, so I really appreciate that.
On time.
Exactly, with all that you got going on. So shameless plug for New Jack City.
So we're here in LA for 2 shows today. One show in Oakland, and May 4th, we're in Orlando, 5th, Jacksonville, and 6th, Miami. And we're finished. Sure. We're finished.
Thanks so much on that note. Appreciate it, really. So much respect. Appreciate the humility, the modesty that comes across again and again, and also your love for the Lord. So thank you.
Amen, brother.
Welcome to Film and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.
Always having the mindset of whatever I'm gonna do my best.
We are joining an award-winning. This is not a typical story. This is not a topic that's always addressed.